Oil and Gas Board, Chapter 401-2, State of Oil and Gas Board, Alabama, governing and onshore land operation administrative order, Chapter 401-2, permitting of the well, table of contents, 401-201, well permit 02, spacing wells 03, bond 04, organization report 05, changing operator. Alright, 401-201, well permit activity requiring permits of the following activity require permits drilling any of the wells for the oil and gas. B, for the drilling of the Class 2 injection well, converting of the well with the Class 2 injection well with enhanced recovery for the disposal of salt water, other waste producing association oil and gas operation. 3, C, for the drilling and converting any of the well development of the reservoir solution mine cavities for the underground storage of liquid and gaseous hydrocarbons, or re-entry of the plug and abandoned well. Permanent requirements of prior initiating any of the activities identified with Section 1 above the application, even the OGB 101A and 1B, which is the appropriate shall be filed with the approval of the retained with the supervisor of the board. If applicable, the applicant should also refer to 404-101 attendant sequence relating to the rule regulation governing Class 2 underground injection control operation, Rule 405-101 attendant sequence relating to the rules regulation governing underground storage of gas and reservoir rule, or Rule 406-101 relating to the rules regulation governing underground storage of the gas solution mine cavities. If the application shall be accompanied by A, the check with the bank draft with the sum of the $300 of the payable to the state treasurer for the state of the Alabama, which sum of the fee for the approval of the permitted to drill with the no permanent fee with the required of the application submitted for the purpose of the obtaining approval of the grading, deepening of the well. B, a plat with the triplicated with the prepared with the license land with the supervisor shall with the entire surface of the bottom of the whole location proposed well within said section of the plan shall be drawn to scale one over which equals 1,000 feet within unless otherwise stipulated with the supervisor of the plan shall with the trail with the direction with the north latitude with longitude decimal degrees 5 significant 5-digit state plan with the coordinates of the proposed well with the plan shall have the distance of the proposed well with the nearest of the unit boundary section line with the nearest well with the same section complete with the drawing with the same as for the plan shall also show with the location with the task of all of the other wells which have been drilled in said section for the purpose of the designation spacing unit is which of the proposed wells to be drilled with the boundaries of such unit shall be shown with an alternate use for the designated of the permit application within said unit shall be shown in a plat. See affidavit of the ownership and control of the form OGB2 for the whereby the applicant verify that the owner for the has control over the 100% of the drilling rights for the perspective of the oil and gas under then compromising space unit with the affidavit of the ownership of the control underground injection control form OGB2C for the applicant verifies its own has control of 100% of the interests have the rights of the conduct Class 2 well operation over the land of the which for the wells located with the affidavit of the ownership of the owner of the control natural gas storage operation form OGB2D with whereby the applicant verify that he has control with 100% of the interest of having the rights to control the natural gas storage operation whichever is applicable. 4, bond on form OGB3 with a single well, OGB4 with a blanket with the required with the rules 401-2 with the 03 relating with the bond unless such for the requirement is previously satisfied with the 2 or more person with the designated with the applicant operator with each of the sets of the person shall file separate joint bond if the property of the bond is not already filed with any organization report with the form OGB filed with the prescribed with the rule 401-2 with the 04 unless the requirements have been previously certified with the 2 or more persons shown with the operator on with the application each of the person shall file with a separate organization report with a half of the organization report file half of the illustration and narrative material that may be necessary for the supervisor to clearly understand with all of the detail proposed with the operation G with the additional information deemed necessary with the make of the request by the supervisor. 3. Deepening privately depending on the well below the permitted to operate with the operator shall obtain with the approval of the supervisor and the hereafter for the person immediately filed with the form OGB 11A or 1B, which is appropriate, whichever is appropriate. But there is no fee required for the permit. The deepening of the well previously drilled with being drilled with one of the permanent issue by the supervisor with the direction of the well. All wells must be drilled with the diligence to maintain responsibility with the vertical and well bore. However, the well upon application for the operator to drill with the well to be intentionally deviated with the direction and control of the permit may be issued with the supervisor provide with the proposed location of the bottom hole with the deviated well with the depth of the proposed with the producing zone with the complying with the applicable spacing rule with the application for the permitted directional drill with the shall be made with the manner prescribed above the using form OGB 1B with the surveyor plat must show with the proposed bottom whole location in addition with the surface location of the well, and B, if the operator desire with the directional drone with the sidetrack with the permitted with the well with the surface the operator prior with the initiation and the other the active such as the file with the form OGB 1B with the plat with the drone with the surface location promoted with the bottom of the whole location direction drilled and sidetracked well. In the event of the operator in good faith with the producer of the drill of the well, but thereafter the side of the directional drill with the sidetrack with the well, side of the operator shall be obtained prior with approval of the supervisor. Thereafter there shall immediately file within supervisor OGB 1GB with the plat showing with the surface location with the proposed bottom of the hole, looking for the directionally drilled with the sidetracked well. If the operator drive the alleviate the well as to the straightening of the well bore to drill around with the obstruction for the well bore. Some of the operators first off the team with approval of the supervisor shall have the file written report supervisor within 30 days from the completing of the said deviation, setting forth the facts for the operation. 5 of the permit of the approval of the procedure application for the permit to drill the drill, deepen, and to convert any into the comply with the onshore with the rules of the applicable special field rules shall be approved with the rejected for the board after the due note for the hearing application for the compliance for the onshore rule of the applicable field the special field rules shall be maybe applied with the supervisor drilling, deepening, converting, and re-entering that shall not begin until the start of the permit is issued. Expiration of the permit. Permit shall expire 6 months after the day of the issue of the permanent well has not been spotted. 400-1202 with the spacing of the wells. Each well with the drill straight for the oil and gas shall be spaced on either the 1A of the drilling unit with the B with the drain unit with the production unit with the drilling unit, the administrator with the establishment with the board to provide with the live with the drilling over the well, the drainage over the production is area of the pool that may be drained efficiently with economically by one well determine the production unit with its herein by with the time to time plea for the time term drainage with the production unit with the prior to establishment of the field with established with the production units with the field with the operator may be drilled with the well the drilling unit when the board after the notice of hearing the established with the field with the board field for a pool with the board established with the field with the special fielding rules special field rules for designate among the things of the drainage of the production unit with the field with thereafter the wells are drilled with the production unit with the designate with the special field rule with the term spacing unit is with the time of these regulations spacing unit is either the drilling of the unit the drainage production unit the spacing unit shall not include any part of another unit with established from the same pool. Subject to the approval of the supervisor for the drilling of an additional well for the pool may continue prior to the establishment of special field rule for the pool. 2. The special spacing for the well with the drill for the pool with the established for the shall be governed special field rule with the particular field with the restrict with the well with the drill with the pools with the not governor with the special field rule with the following special phrasing provisions applicable for the terminating with the drilling of the unit over the well. The well may be drilled with the drilling unit with the consisting of the government quarter to quarter section of approximately 40 acres. Wells should be located with at least 300 feet from every exterior boundary of the drilling unit. 4B, a well may be drilled with a drilling unit consisting of the government quarter with a section approximately 160 acres for the supervisor that may written with the justification drilling unit with a special well but located with at least 600 feet from every exterior boundary with the drilling unit well with the re-drill with the truck with the gas for the counties with the Fayette with the Lamar Pickens with the Tuscaloosa may be drilled with the drilling unit consisting of the government half section approximately 320 acres such well with the located at least 660 feet from the exterior of the boundary with the drilling unit with the operator shall the designated with the permanent application alternate 40-acre drilling unit. Well shall be located with at least 330 feet from every exterior boundary alternate unit. In the event of the well location alternate of the unit is less than 330 feet from every exterior of the boundary alternate unit, therefore with the exemption of the location supervisor may also exemption well location if the said well to comply with the oil and well spacing for the well shall be automatically revert with the designated alternate 40-acre drilling unit with the proper space with the said of the well is determined by the board after the notice of the hearing. Well to be drilled in search for the gas for the counties needs of the bulb when they scum the mobile to Washington may be drilled down with the drilling unit consisting of the governmental section approximately 640 acres. Supervisor may be written with the justification for the drilling unit such that the well when to be located at least 1,000 from the 300 feet and 20 feet from every exterior of the boundary of the drilling unit with the operator shall be designated with the permanent application for the alternate 160-acre drilling unit. And the well shall be located with at least 660 feet from every exterior of the boundary of the alternate unit. And the well location alternate unit is less than 660 feet from the exterior of the boundary of the alternate unit. Therefore, for the exemption location, supervisor may allow the exemption well location if the well is completed as an oil well. The spacing of the well should automatically revert to the designated alternate 160-acre of the drilling unit until the proper spacing set with the well determined by the board after notice of hearing. Supervisor upon with the receipt with a written justification operator approve of the permanent location under the section 2A through 2D with above of the well to be drilled with the drilling unit construction consisting of approximately 40, 160, 320, 640 continuous surface acres other than governmental section of the division thereof the top there here at 4N. For the supervisors may require the well to be drilled with the drilling unit with the continuous with the existing field with the drill with the complete with the extension of the field according to spacing the provision special field with the rules of the operator provide with the written justification provided with the well will be likely to complete with the pool not defined with a special field the rules/field. Supervisor must approve of the drilling and completion of the test of well with complying with the spacing provisions set forth herein, pursuant to Section 917-12C of the Code of Alabama and 1975 of the Board may grant with the expectation of the spacing of the rules the reasonable and necessary with the where is shown with the after notice and hearing with the board finding the spacing units proper partially outside of the pool for the other some of the other reason for the well located in accordance with the applicable rules show with the non-productive would not be able to the optimum of the position spacing unit with the most efficient economic training spacing unit or where topographical conditions are such for the make drilling authorized location with the spacing of the unduly burdensome with the exemption with the necessary to prevent conservation of the property of the provided, however, the exemption location of the issue for the board well shall expire 1 year after the date of the issuance of the orders and after the well has been spudded instead of the expansion location. H. No well shall be drilled within 200 feet of any permanent residence unless otherwise approved by the board. Alright, 401-203 bond. Before any of the person common for the drilling, with the completing, with the converting, operating, with the producing oil and gas class 2 injection well, with including the production facility, with the process facilities, injection facility, the underground store facilities, and reservoir plants, pipelines, or other equipment associated with the traffic of the well, said person shall file with the board a single well with a well bond form OGB3. Such bond shall be paid with the state of the Alabama and executed with the stated person as a principal by surety of the approval of the supervisor of the board. In addition, such person shall in connection with the drilling, completing, with the converting, operating, with the producing such a well, including the production facility, the process facility, injection facility, underground storage facility, with the reservoir plant, pipelines, other equipment associated such well, with the prevent escape of the oil and gas out of the stratum to another, prevent intrusion of the into the oil and gas stratum, with the separate with the stratum, prevent with the pollution of the sea, with the preventing the pollution, all surface of the groundwater contain. All such person shall file all reports required by the board, including drilling records, all of the logs, such of the well, for the taken, and shall file with the drilling, cutting the core of the core. If the cores are taken within 6 months of the time of the completion, such of the well, the event shall be the well to produce oil and gas commercial profitable quantities, or cease to produce oil and gas commercially profitable quantities if the operation was started for the cease for the period 6 months. Or such well shall become dangerous for the public, if the such person shall comply with the abandoned such well with complying with Rule 400-1414, dispose of all pit fluids closed of the pit in compliance with the Rule 400-1411, and restore the location complying with the Rule 400-1416, maintaining the site with the compliance with the Rule 400-1610, and condition further to be such for the shell with the drill, the operator produce the plug and abandon the stuff of the well, with such a person shall dispose of the pit fluids closed pit with the restore of the location, maintain the site compliance with all the lawful rules, regulation, order of the boards existing with the, or there hereof after promulgated with the law of the state of the Alabama now existing, or herein enacted amount such of the bond in accordance with the following relation with the measure for the depth. The measured depth 0, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,001, 15,000, 15,000. 15,001 to 20,000, 300,000, $30,000 greater than 20,000 feet, $50,000. 2 of the board, however, accept the blanket of the form of the OGB4, the amount with $100,000 of the such blanket with the company condition with the same of the requirements setting forth the single well bonds with except the blanket bound with the supply with more than one well further the more with the bank required with the separate board. $100,000 for an operative processing plant associated facility with the pipeline if the plant operator does not operate with the oil and gas well. 3. Any such bond filed with the board, including any of the amendment with the addendum thereto, with the set forth the correct legal with the name and address of the principal surety with the thereto, with the must countersigned by the Alabama agent with the such authority, setting forth the correct legal name and the type of the agent, such agent company with the affiliation with the correct business address. If the more than one person is to be designated as the operator, with each other person shall file a separate bond with a joint bond, whichever the operator provided with the further of the board is unreasonable. The discretion of the good call for the afternoon of the hearing may require the different amount of the good bond be covered the environmental sensitivity conditions set on the site with the other justifiable the reason for the good cause of the may deem to determine the existing bond to be inadequate may require the filing of the new bond shall be approved with the board of supervisor for the bond with the board's own motion when the war upon petition by any of the part allowed for the file of the petition by these rules regulation the amounts for the bond required for the may be more or less there here more set further. 401-204 organization reports aiming at the person active with the principle of the age of the independently engaged with the drilling, production, injection, storage, transportation, reclaiming, the treating of the processing of the oil, condensation, gas waste associated with the oil gas operation shall file Board Report Form OGB-5 of the organization report reflecting the exact legal name under which such person business is being operated with the conduct of the exact corporate name and the certificate of the incorporated with the plate for the incorporation, certificate of the corporation, with the name and the post of the office address such person business in which such a person is engaged in the case of the corporation, say with which such of the corporation is incorporated with the name of the post office address of any person, any trustees that have the names of the management agent of the constructor thereof. The name of the post office address of the name of the officer thereof, prior to submitting the force of the report of the foreign corporation shall obtain the certificate of the authority of the Secretary of State of the Alabama to transact business in the state. In fact, in the case of the sale of the business conducted under assumed name, in the case of the business conducted under assumed name, anywhere as a partnership sold with the priority ship to the report will play with the name of the post office address of all owner general partners. In addition to other information here on the required with the force of the report shall be resubmitted every 2 years immediately after any change will occur for the fact previously submitted. Or 401-25, change of operator. Operator should be recorded with immediately notify the supervisor of writing an agreement the other transaction with the new operator for the designated with the wells, also associated with the production, processing, the injection plant, with the gathering line, with the pipeline facility, with all the equipment associated with the test of the wells. Such notification shall include, but not limited to, the identification provided with the new operator for the list of the wells associated with the equipment that written in 60 days with effective the day of the agreement of the transaction, called the change of the operator person desiring to become the new operator of the well, submitted with the approval of the supervisor for the OGB-1E with the application change of the operator, single with the application change of the operative form OGB-1E may be filed with the requesting change of the operator multiple wells facility with the equipment of OGB-1E with the operative signed with both of the operator record press operator and with the proposed new operator with both of the parties with complying with the change of the operator with the wells, including associated production, processing, injection plant, gathering line, pipeline facility, and all other equipment associated with the such well and wells. 3. In the application, change the operator form OGB-1E for the new operator shall acknowledge with the ownership and control with 100% of the right for the drill, with the produce, with the respect of the oil, gas line, with the underlying, with the lands, compromising the aim for the sign of the well, with the wells, which be changed with the operator. If it requests a further application, the change with the operator form OGB-1E shall be accompanied with the bond form OGB-3 or OGB-4, whichever the appropriate the requirement of fulfill with the prescribed Rule 401-203 relating to bond. Operator certificate complying with the authorized for the transfer of oil, gas, condensation from the well, the form OGB-12 required with Rule 401-801. Operator certificate complying with the operation involving hydrogen sulfide form OGB-24 with the sour gas filing with the requirements prescribed with the 401-902 with the required for the Rule 401-902 organization report with the form OGB-5 with the not already within file with the board with the current in the event with the new operator is uncertain whether it is own control with the 100% of the right for the drill with the produce with the new operator with the addition with the board's delay file with the application for the change with the operator form OGB-1E with the board may have to notice of the hearing with a good cause of delay following the application change with the operator OGB-1E with the period with up to 120 days thereafter by allowing the new operator with the time to ensure for the operator 100% over the ownership right with the forcible pool for the integrate with the interest of the owners on units assigned with the well with the wells which change for the operator with the request for the board's addition with the new operator half notes hearing with a good cause of major delay with the additional with the period beyond 120 days of filing with the application chain with the operator OGB-1E. In addition to filing application chain with the operator with the form OGB-1E with the requirement of Section 2 with the additional filing requirements in Section 3 filing requirements of Class 2 injection wells shall include the application for a permit to the injection well with the form OGB-1C with the affidavit of the ownership and control of the underground injection control form OGB-2C with the affidavit of the source of the current analysis of the fluids being injected. In addition to filing with the application chain with the operator OGB-1E the required in Section 2 with the additional filing requirements in Section 3 filing requirements change the operator of the natural gas storage operation shall include the application for the permanent injection storage for gas and form OGB-1A with the affidavit of the ownership and control of the natural gas storage of the operation OGB-2D. Prior to supervisor approval of the application chain with the operator of the OGB-1A with the current operator of the record that must be in compliance with the board submission requirements for the form of the geological data of the turf of the logs and cutting of the records for the subject wells. D. The supervisor may waive the following requirements for the request for the additional information associated with the application for the change of the operator. In 9, application change of the operator form or OGB-1E shall become in effect for the approval of the supervisor until the chef of the approval of the current operator of the record, the chest of the reasonable for the ensuring continued compliance with the applicable laws and all rules, regulation, orders, including special field rules promulgated by the board. And that was permitting of the wells.